Hello? Where's the 5 count? I think we're good? Hello. Short breaks. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Ready. All right. Fantastic. Thank you, Trez, very much for that. Oh, nope. Just kidding. There's the 5. Okay. Hello. Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Trez. Thank you, ZSR community. Welcome back to ZSRM 2021 for Pank 1. I'm Douggernaught. I'm joined by Super MC Gamer, MC here. We're playing some Zelda's Adventure for the CDI.
Everyone's favorite Zelda game, and if it's not, well, we're hopefully going to change your minds a little bit tonight.
Yeah, you've probably heard of it. Hopefully good things. Doubt it, though. But let's get into it. I don't think we had any sort of name suggestions going in, so I'll put in Pank 1 here. And let's get it going. Let's play some video games. And it sure is a video game. Let me get my splits ready as well here. Yeah, let's.
In case you world record during tonight's run, is that why? Just in case.
Oh, definitely. No, I'll be doing a lot of marathon safety type strats, gathering like extra hearts and things like that, heart containers that are absolutely optional. And extra rubies and stuff like that. Just playing it very safe, because yes, they are rubies. You've already seen Wand of Gamelon here at ZSRM 2021. You will see, following this, since we met the incentive, you'll see Link Faces of Evil as well. There's no rupees in these games, it's only rubies. But the story here is that we are Zelda. Link has been captured by Ganon, and also the celestial signs have been stolen. And we need to, collect all the MacGuffins and save Link. So we're doing that. This is the second
And there's a lot of
game.
MacGuffins in this game too. It's not just your standard item fare. You get a lot of junk.
There is a lot of junk. You'll see there's a lot of sort of item usage in the game. There's 2 types of items. There's treasures and there's weapons. And there's a lot of sort of menu management and stuff like that. And some of that, whoops, I went south a little too soon. Some of that involves trying to avoid picking up certain items that are unnecessary so they don't clog up the sort of inventory screen. 'Cause instead of having like a very nice 2D array of all of your goodies hanging around, instead it's one-dimensional. It's just a line of things with arrows at either end, and you're scrolling through and trying to find what you need, and so you need to avoid collecting as much as possible, just so you're not menuing for the entire game.
And with how slow the loading screens are in this game, very infamously, it's especially useful to avoid going to the menu as much as you can. That is literally how you can save seconds on your run.
You probably noticed by now that the load screens are a little unbearably long. That is, the game actually, there's at least one example of a decent review that the game got, because this came out in 1994. Its contemporaries, it was programmed in the era of Zelda 1 and Zelda 2. So seeing this come alongside them, it was actually kind of revolutionary and pretty interesting. But the load screen still kind of got battered a little bit in reviews. And but you'll see that there's lots of loading, lots of scrolling, lots of sort of unnecessary waiting, unfortunately, which is great for commentary and great for playing. It's not.
I've always said that this game is great for commentary, because you get like 5 free seconds of talking to chat every 10 seconds of gameplay.
Yeah, if you're looking for a new speed run and you don't want to commit to focusing too much, you like to interact with your chat, this is the one to pick up, because you get to chill for a little bit. I do want to collect some rubies before we reach the first shrine of 7. There are 7 shrines in the game. But I want to have at least 40. It's kind of the white knuckle breakneck, like very dangerous YOLO strats to have that. Like that is the bare minimum you want to have. But for marathon safety, I'll just collect whatever I can.
That's specifically because in this game, our weapons that we use can consume rupees, except for the basic wand, which we currently have.
That's right. Yeah, there's no magic power. There's only money. It's Watto from Star Wars Episode 1. Yeah, you have a time for a restroom. Well, there's some 30-second cutscenes as well, all full motion video, which is very cool. And this is the first one among the first, I guess, with the other CDI games, among the first fully voice acted Zelda titles by, unfortunately, not professional voice actors, most of them.
And we are in the first dungeon, by the way. I think we kind of glazed over the fact that we are in a dungeon. This is the Shrine of Rock, correct?
The Shrine of Rock, Shrine of Earth. It's sort
Shrine
of
of Earth, right?
Yeah, it's there's two different shrines that go by two different names each. For some reason, they just couldn't figure it out. So the Shrine King, Lord, which is the word troll backwards, starting with two L's. He refers to it as the Shrine of Rock, but if you pause and look at the map, it refers to it as the Shrine of Earth. And then later on, the sixth shrine is both the power and strength shrine. For some reason, here's a mimic, because why not? But yes, this is on the Philips CDI. To answer the question, there, it is a very much failed consumer electronics sort of foray into console making, sort of like the PlayStation, except it failed, and it came about, and for the same reason, kind of as the PlayStation did. By way of a failed sort of partnership with Nintendo trying to make a disc system for the Super NES. And that's what also gleaned them the sort of licensing rights to make some Mario and Zelda titles as well. Unfortunately, not a
really
Metroid.
Interesting, because like when they licensed out Zelda, they licensed out 3 Zelda games, and most people talk about Wanda Gamelon and The Faces of Evil a lot, and this one kind of gets lumped in with them, even though most people have not really seen it or know about what's going on with it, and which is interesting because while I think it is around the same level of quality of the game, it is absolutely a completely different beast altogether. It's an overhead game. It's not a side scroll, and it's more Zelda 1 than the other 2 Zelda games.
Absolutely, yeah. The other two were definitely more inspired by Zelda 2 with side-scrolling perspective, and this one being top-down. And it uses real, like, satellite imagery. Well, not satellite, but, like, helicopter photos that they had, like, conscripted, that they had commissioned to take. And then when the budget ran out, they ended up actually using employee vacation photos. I'll try to point out one if I remember it. In the Shrine of Air, there's just a picture of a mountain that is apocryphally from one of the employees' vacation photos. And it's really like it's a marvel that this game exists, and it's, as you said, it's sort of the black sheep of the 3 games for the CDI, and the other 2 I think are much more famous. In this one,
I'd love to see this game get properly remade and retouched like the other CDI games did, because this one, I love the other 2 definitely deserved it, but this one I feel like would have the most quality of life changes with the remake, just to cut out loading times and stuff.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Like I
maybe
would
fix up some hitboxes.
Yes, there is a second, or there is a remake of the other 2 games that was made by Dopley, which is fantastic, and it it's much more accessible than purchasing antique fragile hardware. And our weapon is a wand, as asked. I use a magic wand to beat enemies to death for the most part. Sometimes when you're not supposed to. And but there's all sorts of weapons. You see, I switched to the Jade Ring there. I'm switching back to the wand here now, so we can fight the Shrine King Lord. We've made it to our first boss. That's very exciting. There are 7 shrines, as we spoke about, and then there is Ganon, of course, and a boss rush, very Mega Man style, or refight they call it. So lots to do. But each shrine takes, on average, about 10 minutes, so it's kind of a nice little speed run. It works out pretty nice. We have to hit him 10 times with our wand, and then it's over. And then we get 2. We get his gems.
A lot of these bosses are like semi predictable, semi-scripted. Like some are fully random, some are fully scripted, and some are in the middle.
Yeah, there's two of the bosses, as you say, have a little bit of random. Like they start out sort of normal, and then at one point in their sort of cycle, they have randomness to them. But the other 5 are fully like scripted out, and so they're very predictable. I don't have them all fully memorized. I will probably take hits on the other 5. But Lort is one of the ones with random, and the third one, Avian, is also another one. But yeah, we got our first MacGuffin. We got the Celestial Sign from the Shrine of Earth, Shrine of Rock.
Here we go. We're going in.
You might like to call it. And then now we have to go to the next one. But first, we will take an intentional death here because warping to the starting point is much faster than walking there with all these load times. And something that you might notice is try to pay attention. We have 4 hearts here, but it's going to take 10 hits to kill us. And that is because, unlike other Zelda games, which have maybe a half heart sort of delineation for your hearts, maybe a quarter heart, this game has 20th of a heart.
It does?
It does, yes. So thanks to
I
Organics.
didn't know that.
Yeah, Organics is very good about like tearing apart the game sort of memory-wise and ripping into it and looking for interesting fun facts to try to glitch hunt and stuff like that, to try to find ways to get faster or to see if we could, break into shrines early or anything like that. Unfortunately, we can't, but did find that the health value is in increments of 20 based on how many hearts you have. So
Gracious.
yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Hey guys, can I quickly read a donation?
Please do.
$100 from NR Bennett Trader saying Zelda's Adventure for the win. I so much agree.
Thank you. That's my real life brother. Thank you
Oh
very
boy.
much.
Hey.
Oh, what a pal. Appreciate that. So we filled up a water jar there. We're going to take another intentional death. So this water jar is needed to collect an item that we will not need until we're on our way to the 5th shrine, but it's conveniently located. We'll pick it up on the way.
Yeah, we need to give this water to a nice woman named Gleb, who is thirsty.
Gleb the thirsty.
She'll say some stuff, but it's not important.
It's true. It's true. She's got lots to say. We'll try to avoid as much as possible, but for safety, I might have to listen to a little bit more of what she has to say. More time loading the screen than crossing it. Sometimes, yeah. Especially if you're making like diagonal movement across the map. That was foolish.
You wanted that yellow rupee. Sometimes they're just too attractive to pass up.
Yeah, look, it's big numbers. So we're actually pretty good on rubies for now, but I might make honestly a safety save at Destiny because it's been brutal in practice runs.
Now, back at the Shrine of Earth, you picked up a red boot, which at the time seemed inconsequential, but it allows you to actually access most of the map.
Yes, so the game is very good at this very beginning bit at sort of tutorializing you in that you're kind of stuck in this first area. You can't cross a river that is made up of sort of this light blue water. There's other sort of bodies of water that are made of darker water. And that distinction is important because those red boots let us walk across the water. The light blue water, of course. So it's sort of, if you were to play this game without a guide or anything, I've never played this game sort of casually, so I don't know how I would have reacted. But you are stuck in this sort of southwest quadrant of the map until you get those boots, and then you can escape. So here we talk to a man in this, in the inn here, to collect a dagger, which we'll need to fight certain enemies in the 2nd shrine and the 4th shrine. But I'm pretty low on hearts, so I'm going to try to play it safe here.
You have some moblins.
Yeah, hopefully they'll...
Moblins.
Yeah, so spelling hadn't sort of, like, that's why it's rubies, that's why... instead of rupees, that's why moblin and moblin is, like, it's very sort of up in the air. Like, the style guide hadn't really been sort of set in stone yet. So there were only 2 Zelda games so far. They hadn't necessarily like figured out here's the full lore. So yeah, the source material for these have been the first 2 games as well as the comic book. So it's who knows what exactly kind of decision making processes they had to go through
it's really interesting because a lot of people slam the CDI games for being like, oh, these are barely Zelda, and it's like, I mean, at that time we didn't really have much of an idea what Zelda was. All we had was like 1 and 2, and those are like wildly different games from each other. And if your job is to make them into full motion video and graphics, there wasn't really a guide other than like the cartoon was kind of in production, I think. But
yeah, and even
it
like
was wacky in itself.
Even the box art for the other 2 Zelda CDI games have straight up the image from the style guide that they were given from Nintendo, just ripped and put on there for Link and Zelda. Like they're like, they look like this, and they're like, okay, great, and like copy paste, let's put it on there. So yeah, I mean, they're really treading the water here, and it's hard to make that kind of decision, and especially whenever in the future, in hindsight, it's easy to say like these are barely Zelda, but I mean, it didn't.
I mean, you're playing as Zelda. You are Zelda right now, so that's like...
Yeah.
That's a bold thing that they didn't quite get to yet in the Zelda series until much later.
Absolutely. So there I collected a raft. We won't need that until the 5th shrine, but again, it's on the way, so we'll just grab it. Yes, well, so this game was developed whenever those things were, whenever the first 2 games were the only thing that's out. This game came out in 1994 eventually, after, unfortunately, a couple of years in sort of quality assurance limbo a little bit. And you might make jokes like, "Oh, quality assurance, haha," but, like, I mean, for real, like, they found bugs, and unfortunately, the only way to really fix the bugs was to remove content, because I think by then the developer had moved on or been fired or something like that, so, uh, so tough times out there, unfortunately. So there was, like, you can look up magazine articles and stuff and, like, little blurbs and things talking about, like, how many NPCs and how many screens and stuff there were in this like very ambitious Zelda game that's coming out. And unfortunately, you can do the actual math and see how much was removed, and it's quite a substantial amount. And again, it's kind of a miracle that this game even came out based on how much was removed from it.
And I believe it remains the most expensive Zelda game to purchase. Basically on the collector's market now.
Yeah, if you were to try to get like a retail proper, like non-refurbished, non-demo disc, like repro edition, it would be, last I checked, around $500 to get that, which is not worth it in my opinion.
For the amount of time you're gonna put in this, it's worth getting a repro. I mean,
Yeah, if you wanted to get a whoops, I went the wrong way, but that's fine. Like if you wanted to play this and pick up a CDI and pick up like a repro or demo copy, it's a full copy of the game, and you would be capable of seeing everything it has to offer. There's only one secondary build of the game that's out there. And it's still fully playable. It's got a couple of screens are different. You can check out the cutting room floor has a very good bunch of articles in this game that you can check out and enjoy. So here we are at the Shrine of Illusion. It's got a great sound loop pretty much the whole way through, so you'll be enjoying that.
And it started with the only other sprite of Zelda we're going to see for a while.
True.
Which is her sliding.
Yes, well, yeah, that's great. That's a great point. Like all the sort of enemy sprites are claymation, and so they actually exist somewhere in the world in some warehouse.
They're in a dang what's it called? A warehouse. Yeah, it's like
a warehouse. They belong in a museum. For real, I would love.
Museum is our house.
That is like my holy grail of swag to own, would be like the actual like enemies or whatever, like and like a lot of the dioramas that make up the rooms and stuff are like physical.
I want the boss of this dungeon. Yeah, I want the boss of this dungeon.
For sure.
Yeah.
So like it's real. It's actual photographs, and then lots of photographs taken of physical actors walking on like treadmills and stuff is how they got the sprites for like.
You're gonna have a great opportunity here in a second.
Yeah, if you want to read some donations, you have 1 minute and 47 seconds while I hit this Pole's voice 280 times with the wand. Go for it.
All right, so actually I only have one donation, but I also have a little anecdote to tell. So shoutouts to Mojo donating $100 saying "Duck for the win."
Oh, there's another sibling of mine. Thank you.
Do we have more siblings? We could use the money.
There is one more, but he might be asleep.
All right. Shoutouts to Doug's family. Just a quick thing that happened when I played Zelda's Adventure last year. I'm not sure if any of you remember.
I do.
You do. So since my CDI just wouldn't play the disc, I have no idea why. The CDI is fine. It's obviously up for donations and winning today.
Lol.
I had to play an emulator, and the emulator just randomly took the last big sound cue it had and played it during every single load screen. So we had like a fantastic sound effect in every single load screen, and you all see how often we have these load screens.
I don't think that's an emulator-specific bug either.
I think that's just the game.
Yeah, that sort of thing happens all the time. There's all sorts of sound glitches and stuff. If you were to pause when you enter a room and then unpause immediately, it would continue playing the previous sound clip it had loaded if it hadn't been playing one when you walked in the room. Also, there's sometimes like just it will do like a broken record type thing. So there's plenty of bugs. So to explain what's going on here, now that it just ended, this is unfortunately my most significant contribution to the route. Whenever I picked up the game, is that you could go about 8 screens out of the way, I think it is, to pick up a spell that will kill the Pole's Voice in 4 hits. But it being 8 screens out of the way costs more time than it would be to just not use it at all. The trouble is, of course, if we were to die and the Pole's Voice respawns, we lose 2 entire minutes to that.
We're doing our best not to die by these whiz robes.
Yeah, so if someone wants to pick up the game casually, I absolutely recommend that they go pick up the noise spell, which will take care of that for them. But otherwise,
I picked it up.
Yeah,
I picked it up.
Yep. Yeah, I think I coached you to go pick it up. I was like, I'm not going to put you through this because like
I think I tried.
Yeah, I think you went there for a bit, and then like you should change. I think I had woken up because it was quite early for me when you were playing it. I think I woke up and you were in illusion. I was like, here's what I would recommend you do. Let's get out of here.
By the way, one more, and then I'm gonna actually take a break for a bit because I barely have slept, so I need to take a short break. $50 by OC1. We know that person as well.
Thank you, OC.
Thank you so much. And donating $50 saying, "Go Doug." Thank you so much, friends. That's $250 during ZA alone already. Yes. Let's make it 500. Let's go.
It's already an outlier. This is ridiculous. Very silly.
You did pick up a compass, which, unlike most Zelda games where compasses are kind of useful for the dungeon that they're in, this has kind of a very innovative use of the compass. Do you want to describe that?
Yes. So, typically I would avoid picking up the compasses because, again, they would sort of fill up the inventory and be cluttered. But we pick up 2 compasses in the route. That's something that that Organics added to the route, is that using compasses on the overworld lets you warp to what am I doing? In the overworld, it warps to the outside of the shrine that you collected the compass, that you collected in it, because there's one map that's actually not in the shrine, but compasses are all inside the shrines that you use them in. But yeah, it lets you warp around, and that's very useful in a couple of very specific instances in the route here.
Can I talk about the knife room real quick?
Please, yeah. We just
saw an amazing room. You may have noticed that Doug entered the room, beat up these Yeti guys. They dropped a knife, and then Doug had to go into his menu, equip the knife, use the knife, go back into the menu, and re-equip his wand, all to open up a door. When they could have just programmed the game to be beat Yeti's door opens, but they decided that it was worth it.
So twice already, an astute observer would notice that I had picked up a ladder and that black orb and had used them, and then they were removed from my inventory, and then the wand was re-equipped as it's the default item to have. If something is removed from your inventory, it's equipped. But the knife is not removed from your inventory, so you have to go and re-equip it. And if you were to die and go back through that room, you would have to, tear a hole in the tent again with the knife. So that is
even more interesting is that the dagger does not work like a knife. It's very different.
Yeah, it's a treasure. It's not a weapon. So like it's very strange. There's a lot of questionable decisions, and there's some inconsistencies that don't make a lot of sense. If you would believe it.
I'd love to remake this game. I wish I knew anything about how to make a game.
Yeah, that would be so cool. Like, I would be so for that, and then like lots more people could play it and enjoy it, and try it out and live through my pain. We'll throw another blue ring at these guys. These guys are extra scary.
I was like, let's be careful.
Right, so the blue ring is something that I picked up for 20 rubies in Great Wimbish, the town that we crossed through before making it here to the Shrine of Air, or the Shrine of Illusion, excuse me. It costs 20 rubies to purchase, and then to use it, it costs 26 rubies, and it is by far the most powerful weapon in the game. So it's very handy to have, speaking of hands.
Hey, I'm so glad you said handy.
So it's very useful to have, and a lot of the game was routed around using it much earlier on, back when MC speedrun the game. Pleasantly retired now at this point. but it was routed in a lot of times that we expected to need to, here's Pasquinade, by the way, the Shrine King of the second shrine. But there's some enemies that are very powerful and have lots of health and needed to be killed with a blue ring, we thought. But it turns out you didn't have to do that. And we'll talk about that more in the fifth shrine. But that is what gave birth to the Pole's Voice, the noise skip that you saw earlier in this shrine. And this shrine is sort of the first kind of hurdle in the speedrun to get through. You don't have a lot of health, and dying after you kill the Pole's Voice is, a 2-minute detriment. So,
But you rocked that shrine. That was wonderful. You got past the brain crab enemies. That do we have a name for them that isn't brain crabs? I've always called them brain crabs.
I think Usui was calling them fleas, but we do call them brain crabs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least Google Translate was. Usui is a Japanese speedrunner and VTuber who is a former world record holder of the game as well, and I had a lot of fun hanging out in their chat and using Google Translate on a camera to be able to read the chat and what they were saying on the screen. It was a lot of fun. It's canon brain crab. I don't know. It's very hard to establish what is canon in this game. There's very little sort of documentation and stuff like that. There is a manual, of course, that has.
And we've scoured as the CA community.
Well, there is somewhere. We only have a text dump of it. There's no physical copy that has yet been located of the sort of Philips call center script for when someone needs help with the game and calls Philips and says, "Please help me. I'm stuck in Zelda's Adventure." There's a script.
I'll call him right now.
Please do. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be delighted to exhume that particular piece of documentation. But in there is some interesting stuff because we think it was based off of an earlier build of the game because there's references to items that do not exist in the actual pathing of the game. They do exist in the code. That's another thing that Organics managed to rip out was every single treasure and weapon that is coded into the game, which includes something called the Vial of Acid, which otherwise... Yeah, there's something which we have not yet been able to find in existence. And there's actually the cutting room floor, again, has links to a very good website, which has maps and rips of like all the sprites and stuff that are on each screen. And that's how we found, that's how they found, I guess, not we. I had nothing to do with it, but that's how an Easter egg was found in the game 20 years after it was released. So, and I don't think the Vial of Acid appears sort of in the memory. Like, I don't think it gets loaded into any screen at all. So,
unfortunately,
there's so much. There's just so much. Like, fortunately,
we need a Zelda game where Zelda throws acid at people to kill them.
What would you use it on? Like, no, maybe it was used on an item. Maybe you needed to like polish the shield that has no discernible use. And maybe that would have. Oh, it's fine. I'm getting it. I can take as much damage as I want. I'm collecting a safety heart.
Yeah.
There's. If I were going for like world record here, I would take actually a different route through this area that Usui had developed. Like, so everyone, it's great if you wanted to be a big part of a speedrunning game and community and sort of leave a mark on something. Picking up Zelda's Adventure with literally a half dozen of us, I think, or so on the leaderboard, you would be able to.
And half of us are retired.
Yes, you at least you would be able to make a huge difference and find all sorts of interesting new things if you were interested in, sinking yourself sort of financially, picking up all of the equipment that you would need, software, hardware, and stuff like that.
It feels like this game is ripe with glitches. Like there has to be glitches in this thing.
You would think so. Like I would love.
It's also so basic that there's so few things for us to actually like input into the game to, influence it, which is weird.
Yeah. I mean, the CDI only has a D-pad and 2 actual buttons to interact with, and that's why you'll see, like, if anyone's playing a CDI game, like Grumpmeister did with One of Gamelon or Faces of Evil following this game, there's lots of sort of shortcuts you have to do in order to be able to sneak in other functionality. Like, in order to pause in those games, you have to crouch, or you press the 2 button and then, or no, you crouch and press the 2 button. And then in order to use items, you have to press the 2 button, but that's also the open the doors button. So like there's lots of like overuse of single commands because you only have a couple of buttons. It's only about as sophisticated as, you know, a remote control that has 4 buttons and 4 D-pad buttons and 2 actual buttons on it. So it's very tough.
This game has to have glitches. We just can't find them.
Well, there's one banned glitch.
A banned glitch?
There is one banned glitch on the leaderboard if you were to check it out, because the blue ring that we talked about earlier it's got this projectile that shoots out and can continuously hit enemies. It's the only weapon that does that, where it will hit and hit and hit and hit and hit an enemy until it's pushed against a wall, which is very handy. It's very useful. We'll be making use of it in the 4th shrine very soon, for exactly that purpose. But it turns out if you were to use the blue ring and then save and quit, or you know, shut it off and not shut off, but do anything but shut off your CDI and essentially restart a new game right after firing the blue ring, what that does is it stays in memory as like, okay, the next projectile should pierce enemies and continue through, and that affects the jade ring in the 1st shrine that we use to kill the Sardax to get to the Lord. And it makes it have that same functionality, which it shouldn't have. And we've banned it because it would be so annoying to set it up every time to do that, to get, you know, a couple shrines into the game and then restart. So don't do that.
I get that. That's almost like a New Game Plus type of scenario.
Yeah. So that is the source of the only banned glitch in the category.
It wouldn't be faster either, would it?
And I mean, it might be a little bit faster, but if that ended up being like the most efficient tactic, then I'd be so annoyed by that because I would not want to do that every single time.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. So, and again, like if you're a wizened speedrunner of the game, of past or present, you still learn lots every time someone boots it up and talks about it. Yeah, just RAM preparation. Exactly. Like it's, you know, file setup type stuff. It's the worst. Ow.
Right.
I just got domed by a crystal that's flying around.
Yeah,
so
this is a hard dungeon at weird times because for the most part, it's not so hard. There's not a ton going in there, but things in here can sometimes hit like a truck.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and we never talked about every time you pick up a celestial sign, of which we have now 2 because we've completed 2 shrines. You get a number of different perks. You get a heart container, first of all, which is very handy. So you die less frequently, allegedly. You also get a powered up wand. You deal more damage with your wand, but none of the other spells. Those are a fixed amount of damage. And then you also take a little bit less damage, based on, I don't know. I don't know if it's like hard coded in like some kind of table where it's like, okay, this enemy, if you have this many this many signs, does this much damage or what. But for whatever reason, that's how it works. And so by the end of the game, we'll just be like sprinting through the map and barely taking any damage, which will be very nice. It's very sort of Metroid in that way. So that's pretty handy. Oh, and by the way, this whole shrine has ice physics.
Sometimes you can't quite tell just because you may not be used to how Zelda moves, or like in the overworld, but it is slippery and difficult.
Yeah.
the any sort of sliding physics in this game are they're very hard to work with.
Yeah, they're nearly unbearable. So this whole shrine has it. There was one area in the 2nd shrine that had it, which was that bridge over a huge sort of gap, which is very scary. So that has it. And let's see what else. A maze that's in the 4th shrine has it. So it's sort of, you know, it creeps up from time to time. It was theorized there's a rug item I'm going to get from this mini boss I'm going to fight. I'm not going to get it, but it will drop from this mini boss here. It's theorized that sort of makes ice physics more bearable, but I have no idea. It doesn't actually.
It doesn't. If it does, it's a lie.
We've picked it up. We've tried it. We've tried using it. We've tried equipping it. We've tried all sorts of things. First block puzzle of the game.
Oh, here we go.
Oh,
nicely done. Well done.
Thank you. If you push the other one, a bunch of enemies spawn, which is not ideal, obviously. Oh, I wanted to equip the bow there. So there's 2 more in the game, both of them in the 6th shrine, one of which we will not interact with because we don't need to collect the map. That's just how you collect the map for that shrine. Shrine. Oh, shrine, shine, and sign have all just converged in my head. It's quite late for me here in America. Yeah, there's a rug.
It's the
There's
Zelda's Adventure way.
Exactly. I was like, I submitted Zelda's Adventure for this marathon. And Trez is very kind to the CDI community and lets us, have some airtime. But I was fully prepared to be the graveyard shift.
Well, there's that mountain.
Oh yeah, there's the mountain. There's welcome to my vacation photos. Here's a mountain. If anyone can talk about here, take a nice picture with it. If anyone can identify what mountain that is, that might be interesting.
That's the research we need done in this game.
Yeah, it's Mount St. Helens before it blew up. I don't know.
Zelda's Adventure runs in 3 AM. Name a better pair.
Yeah, the insect wings, the sort of mosquito buzzy sound is not pleasant. That's true. So
also earlier, go ahead.
Well, this is Avian. Third shrine boss, Avian. She's a bird. Oh, this was not the safety zone I expected it to be. So she's one of the other ones that has sort of randomness in her cycle. Oh, I'm in trouble. So you might notice if the color is coming through right, that if she is taking sort of yellow shakiness, yellow sort of static whenever she gets hit, that means she took damage from the feather, which is the only way to damage her, we theorize. Sort of Pole's voice style, you might be able to hit her a lot of times, but you can't stun lock her like you can the Pole's voice. So we theorize that the only way to kill her is with the feathers. But if you swing your wand to attack with the feathers and hit her with the wand, then she gets iframes and turns blue instead and doesn't take any damage, which is pretty annoying. Tampa's here. Hello.
What I was going to mention is earlier you described the ice physics as barely tolerable, which is how I would describe most of this game.
Absolutely true.
When I was running it, I was like, this is tolerable, but only barely.
To me, it's very much like a historical fascination with it. Like, obviously, it is objectively not a good game. But
it is so fascinating. It is so interesting. And some people think because I stopped playing the game that I don't like the game more. I love the game. I just had enough history for today.
No, you've done enough. You sort of you introduced it to a lot of people who picked it up and ran with it, and now you can sit back and just smile. So that's the best.
And look at the run, and now I'm so excited that it's gone so fast. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was for a long time. It was an hour and 21 minutes and change, and then it was an hour and 21 minutes and a little bit less change for another while, and then it was an hour 12:56 for almost exactly 4 years. I think 17 days short of 4 years, and then Usui came through and knocked 72 seconds off of that. So it was an hour, 11 minutes, and 44 seconds, I think it was. And then I came through a couple days later and knocked another couple minutes off that. So it sits at 109.25 right now as the world record.
We're so close to that sub 1. All we need is one shrine skip. Just give us one.
Oh, that'd be incredible. My sum of best is 108.15. So 108 is definitely possible. But yeah, if you could cut out a whole shrine, that would save about 10 minutes, and that would get us to sub hour, which would be incredible. One is 100% runs. Oh, I still don't have the route for that. I need to pass to organics for that, but I think that was routed before. Some of the interesting changes that have come about in the last 5 years, I guess, is how long I've been running this.
And as we mentioned before, 100% would be a very weird category in this game because we were still discovering where some things are.
Frankly, don't exist as far as we can tell. So if someone were to find a possible actual way to find the vial of acid, that would completely make a bunch of runs completely. Well, a bunch of, there's none right now. There's one that doesn't have a video for some reason. So
it's kind of like a max percent thing, but almost. Yeah. Because max percent is this is the most percent we can figure out at the moment.
Yeah, this is the most we know about right now. So this jack here sort of doesn't follow real physics, unfortunately.
It really doesn't.
bounces when it wants to. So, and I don't know if it like follows you or what. So it's just very annoying.
I would like to refer to it as the chaotic neutral DVD logo.
True, absolutely true. So these Gibdo are the reason that this is the Shrine of Destiny, the fourth shrine. They are the reason that this is sort of this is the run killer. It is absolutely the hardest shrine in the game, no question, and it is kind of pits, and it has ruined so many runs for me, and I don't like it.
It's got the best music.
That was pretty good. It's got good music for a change, but so this Gibdo room is pretty rough, mostly because Gibdo, like, they're very fast and they deal a ton of damage and they love to like just magnetize onto you. So that's the first of two very sort of unfortunate Gibdo rooms. The next one's not so bad. So that's pretty much, hopefully we're past the hardest part of this shrine. We'll see. I was doing a practice
we
run
got some whiz robes coming up.
Yeah, the whiz robes are the pits. Absolutely. Free world record. Absolutely. Yeah, just route it out.
Or just ask Rob for his.
Yeah,
or I don't know if Organics actually noted it down. I would assume so.
Yeah, I would think so. There's definitely there's a lot of item collection you need to do. You got to find a lot of items. Well, I mean, we know where they are. You don't have to find.
Are you using my strat? This is my strat.
An inch forward. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in this room, it's like I'm too scared. I'm just gonna kind of hold right, but mash it, and it usually works out. This is my original strat right here.
I love it. Yeah, I could theoretically use the blue ring or something like that, but again, it's quite expensive, and they're being a little bit cautious. So now I'm finally using the dagger again. Actually, not finally. I used it once in Shrine 2. This is a strat maybe that I'll get to show off. That's my thing. Yep, get to show it off. So if this front guy, you can see he's turning blue a lot. It's because I'm hitting him with the wand instead of with a dagger. So my strat is just to tank that first guy and kill the second guy with the projectile.
And hope he goes right.
And then hope he goes right. And
he's so mean. He's so mean.
Yeah. So just for safety, I could sort of maybe YOLO through and maybe take some damage, but I'm going to try to avoid it as much as possible. I just want him to either come straight down or come right and then down, and he keeps not doing it. So maybe in a couple more attempts, if he's still being ornery, I'll just run past and take the hit, but I prefer not to. Oh my god.
Man, dude, he is
being all right. This is the last time I will run away scared. If he doesn't. There we go. That's what
he knew. He knew his last chance to shine. Look at that. And he still got a hit on you.
Yeah,
what a champion.
So here's the thing: is like, we've got ice physics again. I'm scooting around, and also if I were to fall off of this predetermined path, I would be warped back to the beginning of the shrine. That's not too much of an issue, sort of enemy-wise. They won't respawn all the enemies like a death would, sort of Dark Souls style. But it will, lose some time because I have to run back to here.
It will make us suffer a little bit on.
Yeah. I'm so scared. Please. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, we're too low on health. We still got to beat a shrine boss.
Oh, the shrine boss is not so bad. If you die on a shrine boss, we haven't managed to do so yet, which is impressive, honestly. But you do respawn right outside the shrine boss's room, which is super handy. So I will accept deaths in shrine boss rooms all day long over, the worst part is right outside Pasquinaud's room, there's a couple of dinosaurs that are problematic. If you die to them, you have to run through the entire shrine again, which is brutal. I lost a race to dying to the vulture things that are right outside of the third shrine's boss room, so I had to redo the third shrine entirely, which was detrimental to my time, of course. So the best screen. Okay, we've made it through all the hard parts of this shrine, so the run killer can now be the water shrine, which follows this one. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
If we get through water, the game is over.
Yeah,
it's not over, but
you're
kind of over.
Essentially home free as long as you don't make a super critical mistake once you finish the fifth shrine. It seems like there's been a lot of cut content in the game following that because it's a little unfinished, unfortunately. So this is Malmord. She is the third or the fourth shrine king, shrine boss, whatever, and it takes, I think, 8 hits to kill her. But sometimes she goes under the ground, which is not ideal for hitting her. Oh, one more. There we go.
Yeah, her movement's predetermined, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's just Avian and Lort that have randomness to their cycles. So, so her thing is totally, completely predetermined, which is very handy. Yeah, the birds do sound like Wizrobes in that maze. It's true.
We haven't mentioned it thus far, but we've been talked to by this wise old man, Gaspra, throughout the run.
Yes.
At a low volume, thanks to the game's audio processing, which is kind of his fault, isn't it?
The mix isn't great. So yeah, he is also the audio engineer. He also wrote a very, very interesting and good like overworld theme that you should check out on YouTube, because they couldn't put it in the game because every time you switch screens, of course, it restarts the audio. So they just put sort of a wind blowing sound in. So check it out. It's actually a very good song. It's interesting. You should definitely give it a listen. But unfortunately, it's not in the game. But he's the audio engineer. I think he got overdubbed by like an actual voice actor whose name escapes me, but like a real actor.
Yeah.
And
What isn't his name? Mark
Andrade is his name.
Yeah. He left a comment on my one world record, like my original world record, I think.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, he's done an interview and stuff as well. But yeah, he's Gaspra. He's been olded up just to look like that. I don't know whose hand it is, because that hand looks realistically old, but he was in his late 20s, I think, whenever this game was made. So I just did a save warp.
The same age as Gaspra? Oh my god.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe maybe get into some anti-aging cream or something. So that was a save warp just to get us back to here. You could do a diff warp as well and accomplish the same thing. It's just by this point we have
so many hearts.
8 hearts, I think, and then of course 4 shrine signs worth of defense from the defense upgrades and stuff that you get. So it's quite time consuming to take an intentional death.
Great item room. Great item room. Here it is.
Oh, yes, the harp. The harp is a very important item that is very, very hard for a casual player to skip. You got to kind of ride the bottom line of that bridge there to avoid picking it up and cluttering up your inventory. So,
what I love about that harp is it looks kind of like the goddess harp that is later seen in Ocarina of Time and Skyward Sword. So it's like, did Zelda's Adventure do the goddess harp first? The answer is no. But I mean, yes, at the same time.
It's a beautiful harp. That is, I mean, it does have a use that we have determined. That is, if you are in a shrine and play the harp, or just use the harp, you warp to the beginning of the shrine. So it has a use, but that use is useless, unfortunately.
Yeah, that use is not a use you want to use.
Yeah, there's no real reason to do that. I'm going to pick up another. I've been tanking all these enemies and stuff and not bothering to like collect rubies. You do need 20 rubies to get into this next shrine, but fortunately we're very rich. So I've been tanking all these enemies because I know that there's an extra life heart here that I can pick up. There's 2 more scattered across the world, but they're not sort of close to the critical path, so they're not routed into the marathon safety strats. So now I'm going to put the Vial of Wind that we got from Gleb the Thirsty onto my hotbar, because that is the next item we're going to use. So yeah, we're pretty beefy now. It's been, what, 45 minutes, and we have lots and lots of hearts and defense and offense and all this other stuff. So pretty good for now. We have 3 more shrines left to complete. Over halfway through the game, we've made it over the hump, you might say. So very exciting stuff.
Especially with the Shrine of Water next. Shrine of Water is a difficult shrine, I'd say. It's like I alluded to before, kind of like the last hard one. I think it's one of the most creative in terms of design. There's a lot of unique enemies.
Yeah, definitely. It's got Zoles. It's got what are probably Octoroks. It's got
some turtles.
Yeah, it's got turtles and fish, just like you would expect a real kind of water cave thing to have.
And you know what else it has? Beforehand, Doug?
Yeah, what's guarded by?
It's guarded by the one like in-world mini boss in the entire game.
What may or may not be the actual Loch Ness monster. Very exciting stuff.
Cool.
So we're gonna take our little
screen.
Yeah, we got a raft trip. We paid 20 rubies for this raft, so hopefully it stays sort of afloat here. But yeah, when we're helpless here in the middle of nowhere, we will be accosted by Nessie, Tessie, whoever it is here.
Ah! Watch out! Careful! Don't get hit!
Yeah, very claymation here. I'll try to avoid getting hit. It's sort of tough to do. Oh, okay.
What a champ!
Right, yeah, not too bad. So one thing
to reward you have the next screen.
Yeah, absolutely. We get to continue. Um, so something that may not be obvious to the viewer, but will be obvious once you finally play the game, is that whenever the raft stops somewhere, it actually force moves Zelda to the middle of the raft. I suppose to like prevent her from like falling off or like accidentally like clipping out or something. So like that movement right there that moved her to the middle, I did not do. My hand was off the D-pad. Um, and I mean, it doesn't affect too much really, but it is something to consider, especially when you're like, oh, I need to position myself well for this Loch Ness monster fight. But you just get moved to the middle anyway, and we'll be riding a raft again momentarily. And you just need to basically position yourself in the center of the raft to save time. So because no matter what, you're going to walk to the middle of the raft.
Got to figure out a way to like change the coordinates of where like Zelda's gonna snap to somehow, so we
I
can like
mean, it's
clip out
definitely
of bounds.
doable. Well, like Organics has clipped out of bounds and like done a lot of very interesting like teleporting type stuff that he figured out
Yeah.
by way of like, hey, let's explore over here. Like, does this lead to a new area like across this river that has like, there's a building over there that is obviously extant because it's there, but like, can we explore it or anything? But no, it's very locked down. Like, they managed to remove everything really well. Another example of using an item once and it disappearing and not having to unequip it, like the knife. Once again, making the knife extra unique in that regard. And the plank there to get across the bridge. And now we will meet our first Kelpie. So this is, as we alluded to in the second shrine, there are some enemies that we thought needed the blue ring to kill, and this was them. And this Organics was doing a run and ran out of rubies because, again, it costs 26 rubies to use the blue ring. And ran out of rubies, which is very frustrating, and just frustratingly beat the stuffing out of the Kelpie with the wand. And actually, it turns out it worked, which really turned it on its ear. It takes like 20 or 30 hits or something on the Kelpie to kill it. And that's what led to the same thing being done on the other Kelpie and on an enemy in the 6th shrine. There's a red knight that you need to allegedly use a lance on, but the lance is again a few screens away. So instead of collecting the lance, you just hit him 55 times. I'm not sure how many hits it would take with what we call the one wand, which is what we use on the Pole's voice. But the 5 wand that you have at that point is pretty powerful. If he drops a heart, by the way, you can't collect it, which is fun.
Yeah, it's useless. It makes me so mad every time.
Yeah, it's a big tease. This is CDI. This is the 3rd CDI Zelda. It is the lesser known of the 3, because it doesn't have those animated cutscenes that everyone loves so much. And also, I think it had less distribution as well, because I think it only actually properly came out in Europe. I don't think it ever actually released in the United States, which is also kind of funny. Do you ever regret discovering something? Well, yes. Yeah, I mean, again, it led to the Pole's voice thing, which is the worst thing ever. What's funny is like the Game Grumps played this game and ended up the speedrunning community reached out to them like, hey, if you need any help, we can help you out, and they ended up doing Pole's voice skip, and oops, sorry, the noise skip. So sorry about that, fellas. Whenever I was in discussions with them, it's completely slipped my mind to ask if they have picked up the noise spell, and I still wonder what it could have been if they had finished. Maybe they would have finished the game if they hadn't been hurt so deeply by it.
No, they wouldn't have. Absolutely not.
No, I don't remember how far they got, but
if they got into Illusion, I think that's as far as anybody should get.
I think they beat Illusion. If I ever go to a Q&A or something or meet them on the street, I would love to just be like, hey, hey, I talked to you once. I would love to talk you through the rest of it if you feel like. I'm happy to help. You play crowd control for... Oh, that would be awesome. Yeah, crowd control, randomizers, just any kind of remake would be incredible for this. Of course, there's randomizers. There's not crowd control, but there's randomizers and stuff set up for the other 2 CDI Zeldas. You can pick up Dopply made the remakes, and then he popped into the CDI speedrunning Discord, and one of the first things people sort of gently asked him for was randomizer. He's like, oh, that actually would probably be pretty easy to set up, and so he did. And so now there's that, which is very exciting.
When Dopply went on record saying, "I'm not going to remake the 3rd Zelda CDI game. in my mind, I was like, you know what, that's fair. You've done enough work for the community. But also, I was like,
Yeah, like, oh, it's very
Save
unfortunate and
me.
very sad, and like, I wish you would reconsider, but also I completely understand your decision.
Slide some money under the table. You should reconsider.
Yeah, I think my friend George Washington has other ideas.
That is $1 bills.
That is $1. You might have to dig a little deeper than that. Here's the third Kelpie. You don't actually have to kill this one because it's an auto-scroller. And next up is the scariest screen in the entire shrine. Because it's very easy to die to this randomness. It's fully RNG, what these fish do, and then they might just want to camp in your hitbox and kill you. So that is obviously not ideal.
Well, look at him go.
Yep, so that was
Yeah.
not perfect, but fortunately we had a ton of hearts and we could tank it. So we're fine. We've made it through the Shrine of Water, the hard parts. And now we're basically home free, which is nice. So the shrine boss of the 5th shrine, the Shrine of Water, is Agwanda. She is, yeah, she's like a bubble booger thing. She's made of water.
Yeah.
And she's great. She's
This is really a boss design here. This is really a boss design.
The whole boss design is a blob. It's flubber, essentially.
Flubber.
Yeah, so that would be cool. I think you have to hit her a lot of times. It's like 16 times or something, or 14. So you just have to avoid getting hit by her projectiles as well as her person, and yeah. You might have heard, I don't know, we were definitely talking over a lot of it, but throughout every shrine, the boss sort of sasses you throughout it. So she's always talking about like, oh, I'll steal all the water, even the droplets of dew I will, reserve and keep away from my enemies or whatever. And she even sasses you after you kill her, so I don't know. So that's the
Shout out
fifth
to
one.
Agwanda.
Yeah, so that's a cool one. It's over though. Now on to the...
before Flubber.
Oh, Flubber's based on Agwanda.
I gotta tell you, I watched Flubber like last year.
Really?
This game is better than Flubber.
Really? It doesn't hold up.
No, I don't think Flubber holds up at all. It's very not good.
Yeah.
I feel bad because I like Robin Williams.
That's a shame. There's an echo. Oh no. Well.
That's a shame.
Yeah. Bummer. Anyway. So this is the first instance of using the compass to warp around. What we're going to do is go to the Shrine of Air now. And yeah, you're the first to say it in about almost an hour. So I would be impressed if we managed to leave it in so long. It's all good. It's a remake of an older movie that came out in 1960. Ah.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
Yeah, what's the OG Flubber like?
Welcome to Zelda's Adventure Speedruns, by the way.
Ah. Yeah,
what's the OG Flubber like?
We give up on commentary and wonder what 1961 Flubber is like.
Right now we're just going to the Shrine of Strength, so
that's right.
It's a nice, easy walk.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of the longer walks actually. It would be a lot longer if we didn't use the compass. What we used to do, we being MC, was the only person who ran this route, I think, because Organics is the one that came up with the sort of the compass strats of warping around and stuff. There's a swamp, actually, a full area, like an actual swamp, which you might see in other Zelda games that is fully excluded from the speedrun because it's just long and in the way. A watch party incentive. Let's go, Trez. There's this, I don't know what this town's deal or this fortification or what this whole area's deal is, but we don't spend a lot of time here anyway, so. A situation of gravity. Oh, okay. It's not like it sounds almost like a Twilight Zone episode. Picture Rod Serling like Flubber.
I gotta tell you, I'm on the Wikipedia page that says not to be confused with the Nutty Professor 1963 film, and I gotta say I'm glad they mentioned that.
Yes, one of the heart containers, as Organics is saying in the chat, one of the heart containers of the 4 that are in the game is in the swamp, as well as one of the maps. I think the map for Shrine of Destiny is in the swamp for no reason whatsoever, which is very strange. I'm not sure why, because all the other maps and compasses are found within the shrines, except for that one map. So very strange. But yeah, that heart container, you actually have to have the calm spell to get. You just have to own it. It costs 100 rubies in the Moblin Head Inn, which is where we got the dagger at the very, very beginning of the game, right after the first shrine. But we never bought that because we don't need it. You only need it to fight there's like these tornadoes that are in the Shrine of Air. And you need it to get that heart piece. So for any percent, that's not necessary. After this shrine, since I didn't sort of get my face wiped up by Destiny and stuff, I'm gonna do an optional Easter egg as well, which is very exciting, which was found, I think, last year, so relatively recently for a game that came out in 1994. And that requires an item that's right outside of here, which is very exciting stuff. I'll get the coal on the way out, OC. No worries.
Come again, you deserve many of.
All right, so this is the Shrine of Strength or Power, depending on, I guess, who you ask. Here's a block puzzle that we're not going to do that gets you the map.
It's a funny dungeon because despite being the Shrine of Strength, it's the one we do the most puzzles in rather than...
True. It's strength of
rather
the
than
mind.
Yeah, strength of the mind.
I'm so thirsty. Could you draw me some water?
Yeah, there's lots of puzzles in this one for sure. What's interesting, the compass in this shrine. I'm drawing you water. I'm telling you. The compass is gotten by listening to this person tell a story to you for, I think it's 44 seconds or 46 seconds or something.
Long.
It's forever. Like I was like, I swear it's over a minute, but I timed it. It's a paltry 46 seconds or something. But she just talks and talks and talks about her day or something like that, and then she's like, "Okay, here you go. Here's this. Oh, this is the first time that I've messed this up. Okay,
there you go. Woo, nice job.
That was It's also like a festival, so we're playing like carnival games and stuff, and it's got deadly traps in it as well. So it's very. Oh, I forgot that those go all the way to the left because I usually leave the screen.
I honestly think that this is such a charming idea for like a Zelda dungeon. Like it's a medieval fair that you get to like get through. Like it's almost like a demented fair, I would almost say, where like you have to beat these carnival games, but they're also trying to kill you. I think that'd be great for an actual Zelda game. I think that'd be wonderful for a dungeon.
Yeah, for sure. That's very cool. All right, now here you don't have to get. Oh, okay. Yes, there's also pickpocket. I'll try to point out the next one. But there's pickpockets also stationed throughout the shrine here. I forgot to mention they're wearing red and they have a blue hat. And they'll steal 25 rubies if they make contact with your hitbox. So I think, I mean, I don't know if it's fully 100% necessary to get your pocket picked, but it may be hard to avoid. This guy's got the best voice lines. And this is the guy that we have to hit 55 times with the wand because the lance is, I mean, it's on the way to the Shrine of Fire, which is the final shrine, but it is not on the way to the Shrine of Earth, so we don't collect it.
Is he the guy who says, "And I am strong"?
Yes, so he said, "Hold tight, little enemy. You have something stolen from me, and I am strong," which is a pretty funny thing to say.
It's one of the most classic lines for me.
Absolutely. But we stole his...
printed on his shirt back in 2011.
Oh, nice. Incredible. Well, yeah, there's whole memes based on sort of silly stuff that happens in this game on your channel. And for Zeldathon as a whole as well. But yeah, he has funny lines. There's one of his brothers has a funny line. But I bought for 50 rubies at the beginning of the shrine. I bought a red ribbon. Didn't mention it, but that's what sort of activates that fight. Otherwise, he would not spawn. And here's a puzzle. You can dodge the pickpocket, but you do have to pay attention. Yes. Okay. So yeah, you just have to be on the screen. And with Marathon, I'll clean it up as well. I'll play janitor.
100%. Wow.
Yeah. Tune in for 100%. That would be a very funny thing to like require for the 100% category.
Push all block.
Yeah. You have to clean up. You have to play janitor. All right. You have to buy 3 tickets as well in this shrine, which is kind of the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, come on now. Why would you make?
Especially because you have to re-equip your wand after using rupees. Which also, you have to equip rupees to use them.
True. Yeah, we didn't even mention that. Here's the pickpocket. One of them. Oh, it's not a blue hat. It's blue shorts. But whatever. Here's another funny line as well. We'll let this guy say it.
A thin waif like thee? Ha! Can you even lift a broadsword?
Can you even lift a broadsword? So
Can you lift, dude?
he's well ahead of his time. Yeah. Brody
Honestly, you're right. He is way ahead of his time. He was doing do you even lift before it was a thing? Oh my god.
Yeah. He's like,
Whoa.
bro.
I never, you know, I always made that joke, but I never really realized that how much he preceded everybody.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, and get your abacus emojis ready because it's about to go down.
Your abacus, do I have an abacus emoji?
Everyone has it. It's like a default emoji.
I'm ready. I'll
All
tell
right.
you what.
Here we go. And spam them. There it is. The abacus. All right, it's over. Thank you, MC.
I'm on it. Don't worry. Twitch lag will catch up in a moment.
So yeah, for some reason there's a giant abacus on the wall. Maybe that's for like, you know, this tournament or whatever. Oh, I would have loved a heart, but that's fine. So this is Ursor coming up. He is a bear. He is the perhaps least imaginative of the Shrine Kings. He's just a big bear. But he takes 22 hits with the wand to kill, and he deals 2 hearts worth of damage every time he touches you. So well worth avoiding. But he does have a fully sort of predictable pattern here that we can, you know, if I were better at the pattern, I would be able to predict it. But for the most part, you can stay kind of underneath, and he does 3 pounces, like in the left, middle, and right, not in that order. And he's not too bad once you know, don't get eaten by him. He does say, like, you're no more than a bite for a warrior such as me, so he's very scary. But now he's dead. Yeah, the hitbox is rough. Oh yeah, he's not officially a Shrine King. Also, we'll learn whenever we go hang out with all the bosses in the refight.
He hasn't received his certification.
Yeah, he may have been removed. He may have been buggy. Maybe there was a way to escape the refight or something. That, you know, maybe there was a bad hitbox for an exit on the screen or something that they didn't find with Warbane, the next boss we'll talk about when we get there.
Oh, Warbane.
But yeah, for some reason, you only fight most of the bosses again before Ganon. It's a very challenging game, and I was there for most of Trez's playthrough, and got to experience sort of the casual player's frustration with the game, which was, I think, very valuable to me because, again, I have no idea how to play this casually. I've only ever speedrun it. So now I'm going to collect an important item only for the Easter egg for later. So otherwise, this is not part of the ending percent route, but we have enough spare time, fortunately, routed in a little bit of safety time, and we can spend some of it to show you a cool thing that got discovered only a few years, or only last year, for this super old game.
Ever since Ganon
Yeah, the hitboxes in the whole game are pretty sketchy. That's true.
No one comes to
like after loading times, I think fixing hitboxes is the number 2 most requested feature for a remake of some sort.
Yeah. For sure. All right, so I have
Maybe
coal
inventory
that I got in the quarry here, which was going to ruin my inventory now. I won't be able to scroll through the treasures, which it's actually fine because we won't be using any treasures after this, so it's no big deal. So I'm going to take this coal to Great Wimbish and deliver it to the furnace guy, the guy who has a furnace that can turn coal into diamonds, which is a real thing that you can do if you know magic.
So true, Doug. So true. If you know magic, it's easy, bro.
It's easy. Yeah, I think it takes a lot more heat and pressure than you can get in your, you know, your Cuisinart oven. So
Your easy bake.
yeah, so maybe he trades it. I don't know. Maybe he's out of fuel. There's coal. There's coal and diamonds in Minecraft. Maybe there's something there.
Maybe there's something there. Yeah, we'll do some research.
Yeah, we'll work up that one. So I'm just going to tank a bunch of damage here, both because this is now the most powerful we're ever going to be on the overworld, and as well there's a fairy pool that I can pass by and use to gain all my hearts back. So I'm not too worried about it, and I've got plenty of money, and I'm about to have a lot more. You're about to see. So I equipped the coal. Oh, Gruntmeister, yeah, get ready to go. We're waning here. We got one more shrine to go. So now I picked up a diamond from him. He's like, don't touch anything. I'm like, I'm the princess of the land, my man. Settle down. But you'll find that that has now maxed out my Ruby count. Excuse me. Playing too much Zelda.
Instead of playing Zelda.
Instead of playing as Zelda. So now we have maximum rupees, which is utterly unnecessary anyway. We'll only ever need, probably 40 or 50 more, like in a pinch. That's about the minimum amount we would end up using for the rest of the run, and we could pick that up sort of on the way anyway. But typically, the any percent route, what we would do is warp again to the Shrine of Illusion like we did earlier, and then just go straight south. So we're 2 screens away now from sort of resuming the route as intended. So this Easter egg only adds about 4 or 5 minutes to the whole playthrough here. So not too bad. So now, once again, I'm just kind of face tank pretty much everything, both because we're very powerful with all of our extra defense from the celestial signs that we've collected, as well as the Shrine of Fire is not too difficult. It has maybe 1.5 kind of scary screens on it.
The Shrine of Fire is the one where it feels like they didn't have enough time to finish the game, basically, which is sad because like it's supposed to be the final dungeon, and it's just very odd. It's very, very odd.
Yeah, like if it were truly like actually scary and like would kill a run right at the very end, this speedrun would be very different. It would have a much different sort of vibe to it, in my opinion, because like, after finishing water, I don't know why I'm collecting rubies. I'm conditioned to do so. Yeah, it's fun. Money fun. Number go up. But actually it doesn't because we have max rubies. So now I'm deviating from the path once again in order to activate the Easter egg here, which is don't blink.
Don't blink, everybody. Here comes.
All right. So here on this screen, they found out that if you use the diamond, it doesn't make this sort of like this item doesn't work noise. You just hold it down for 6 seconds, and then this happens.
Radical, dude, totally.
So that's Food Dude from a canceled Veritas game called Food Dude. He rides a skateboard. He says "Radical Dude, totally," and that's the whole Easter egg. That took 20 years to find.
It really did take 20 years to find.
Yeah, and all because
that game didn't come out.
They're like, why is this sprite loaded on this screen? Like, what's going on, and what can we do? Here is the guy that gives you the lance that you ostensibly need to kill the Red Knight, but we skip it. But like, why is this here? And then they found out by just trying to use every single item on that screen that the diamond is what does it. Yeah, he's absolutely radical, dude, totally. And then OC was very nice in commissioning an emote for me, which you can see there as well. Yeah, it's very much like, if anyone's been playing Metroid Dread lately, like once you have all the goodies and you're just sprinting through the world and everything just dies by looking at you. It's sort of what we're feeling right now, except for 2 types of enemies, one of which being this fire-slinging scorpion, which is very scary. Feels like 2 hearts of my scary damage of my big numbers. And this sort of big Octorok spider thing that also deals a little bit of damage too, but everything else is not scary. And then we're here at the Shrine of Fire. Maybe. There we go. So the final shrine, and it's nice once you reach a shrine. If you die, you respawn at the shrine. If you reach the shrine boss, you respawn outside the door. So there's lots of good checkpoints in the game. But if I were to die in the shrine, it would be not a first probably, but a first perhaps in since having learned the speedrun, I think. Easter egg in the Philips phone line. I don't think so. Otherwise, we would have known about it much, much earlier. It's Wand. I think it's Wand of Gamelon is the person's Twitter handle that ended up discovering it. There might be an underscore in there or something. But yeah, they're the ones that actually did the legwork and figured it out and tweeted about it, and then 25 people retweeted it or something like in the whole world. But the whole speedrun community was popping off about it for sure. But yeah, haven't interact with them in any other capacity other than to celebrate their finding this Easter egg. They're not part of the Discord. If you're interested in running these games, you are welcome to join the CDI Speedrunning Discord. It is in the Zelda Speedruns website. You can find it linked there somewhere. And we do have access to an emulator that can kind of play Zelda's Adventure. Unfortunately, there's no perfect solution for it. It does crash every time you die. It even crashes if Zelda dies in sort of the attract mode at the beginning when it's demonstrating the game for you. So that's unfortunate. But if you want to experience it yourself, that is one way to do it. You can put in a cheat code, a file name that gives you infinite health, and sort of experience that way if you like. And I won't judge you for that. It's very difficult to get into. Oh, and there's the link directly. Thank you, Trez. There are echoes of the pop-off today. Indeed, yeah, it's very exciting stuff. So that was Warbane, by the way. He gave us the hammer, which is one of the better weapons in the game in that it doesn't cost 26 rubies to wield, as well as it kills Ganon the fastest, as well as a lot of the bosses in the boss rush, which is very handy. So we'll be doing that. And I like to go for swag one-shot kills, which are actually two-shot kills on these giant bear dog things. But you hit once with a wand, and then the hammer hits after, and it makes you feel like a cool person, a cool princess. That's how I entertain myself as I just sprint through this unfortunately unfinished shrine here. This is the final series. Yeah, because these guys can do some damage. It's beautiful. Like, it's very interesting visually. Like, it definitely evokes the sort of... Here's Warbane again.
Oh man, Warbane's gonna be a tough boss to destroy, my friend.
The toughest.
An evil dragon? How are you gonna defeat that?
Yeah. And finally, we get to also use the necklace that we got in the Shrine of Strength / Power.
Shout out to the time I lost a run.
You forgot the necklace?
I forgot the necklace.
You can probably kill him with blue ring or otherwise.
Oh well. Tell past me that.
Yeah, you just gotta soldier through. So here's Warbane, but there is a hitbox for leaving the room that is right inside the room. So we take advantage of that and don't bother fighting him at all.
A boss skip in Zelda's Adventure. Can you believe it? There we go. That's
right.
the stuff
That's
we're looking
right.
for.
This is any percent. It's not glitchless. We skipped the boss. It's allowed. Yeah, fire-breathing monkey kings. I always thought they looked like bellhops, but kings make sense too with the crown, the hat thing they have on. Oh, there she goes. Bye.
Bye. Bye, Zelda.
Very, like, imagine her on a green clothed table, just kind of wiggling around like that. Yeah. Like, pretend you're falling into a hole that is at the shrine of, or what is it? The shrine. The pool shrine? I don't know. the start of the game opened up.
Hey, look, it's Lord.
Yeah, there's Lord again, if you remember. Friend of the show, Lord. He died in 3 hits now. I'm not sure exactly whether it's a facet of the powered up wand or if they do, in fact, power down Lord and Pasquanad, because they both take 3 hits. We do know for a fact that they do power down. Avian is much weaker now. She dies in 1 feather or 3 wand hits, which is why we theorize that maybe regular Avian can also be killed with a wand. But again, you can't stunlock her, so we don't want to try. But now that we know that there's that infinite health cheat code, maybe it would be worth investigating. Worth, in air quotes, of course.
So this is the next screen is my favorite, because after those 3 boss refights, your health must really be hurting. So
yeah. So they throw you a bone.
and they give you a health refill room.
Made out of bees for some reason. Yeah, it's very, very much like, unfortunately, maybe cut content or unfinished content or something. But now we fought 1, 2, 3, 4, and now the 5th shrine boss. And then we're going to skip Warbane, the 6th shrine boss, because why not? And we'll head on into the final guy. We finally get to fight Warbane as well, which is exciting. And I do it by standing still and holding down the 1 button and just launching hammers, and then he dies after 5 hammers. So
yay!
So still not very challenging, unfortunately. But if you want to pick up the run, that's how you fight Warbane. I did duck the hearts. which is pretty impressive. Yeah, and that was Ganon, who is probably very scary and challenging for a casual runner. But having done it literally dozens of times, you do figure out his pattern is not so bad. Actually, very close to him. I might take damage. No, okay. So he just sort of teleports around, and eventually dies. So he takes 10 hammers to kill, and if you time them right, you'll get them 10 right in a row. If you time them wrong, it might take a few more, because you can get 2 if you have one like in his hitbox when he starts hanging out there. And we did, so he's done, and he's dead, and it's over, and we finished. Time 1:18:49 on my end. Not sure what it was for ZSR, but we did it. So that's it. That is, you no longer have to play this game if you ever felt the need to, but I encourage you to maybe try it out. It is deeper than you might expect. It is an interesting. Oh, and my capture card doesn't love it whenever the resolution changes like that, but it'll come back in a second. There we go. And now the very poorly mixed end screen is very loud here. You might want to turn it down a little bit. I can turn it down on my end as well.
I can. It's
okay,
good.
Thank you, Trez. So yeah, thank you once again, Trez, for having the CDI community. Really appreciate the kindness that you show us. And there's Link. There's the guy. You've heard of him. You love him.
Gasper. I hate when Gasper just shows up. That's so funny.
He's really right there.
Oh, it's amazing. It's just outstanding.
Yeah, so that's how it's supposed to go, Trez. I know it took us a little bit longer to walk you through it, but
it did.
But it was still a ton of fun.
Alrighty, thank you to the both of you so much, Doug and MC. That was so fun. We still had a few donations coming in from Tompa, $100 saying hi guys.
Aww.
From Fastest the one, $20 saying good luck on the run, donating to a good cause and to break Link's bones in Twilight Princess. And to Organics with the $100 saying radical dude, totally.
Aw, thank you so much. Oh, that's very kind.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Yes.
This pushed us over 6.5k. Amazing.
Let's go. That's fantastic.
It is. So, again, guys, thank you so much. And this is not the end for the Cdi Zeldas on ZSR, because on deck we have Grumpmeister doing the first bonus run that you all donated for, which will be the Link the Faces of Evil, all cutscenes.
Nice.
Yay.
Oh, completing the Triforce. Let's go.
Indeed. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be right back. And thanks again.
Yeah, bye.
Oh.